Okay, it's time to use some of my leftovers, and they certainly are not scraps. They can make something really nice. These I'll put back on the shelf. I kind of went through everything. I had these left over from another project. So today I'm going to make a turning, and I've already shown you a similar piece that I was going to do, and I was going to go ahead and finish it. But I don't think I showed all the cutting on it. And I felt that I really should show you exactly how I cut everything. I'll show you the other one here when we get going. But I've got a piece of Peruvian walnut, maple, and Padauk. So what I do, and this is cut on the bandsaw without any sanding involved, and the one that I talked about before, I didn't even put any layout lines on it. This will be the outside right here. I'm going to use walnut for that. So I want to leave a straight edge on there. It's not going to be straight once we turn it. At least I don't think so. But it's nice to have it there for clamping. I'll put a drop of hot glue here. I'll let that set up for a minute at the most. Flip it over and hot glue the other side. We'll go over to the bandsaw and I'll show you how I make these cuts and rearrange all the pieces to get something hopefully attractive. Alright, I'm over at the bandsaw, and that's a 1/4 inch blade, 1/16 per inch. I have this set up. I don't really have any lines on here. If you wanted to sketch something on here to get an idea what you were going to make, that's fine. You could also do it without any lines. You can just freehand through it and the joints will match. Let's go ahead and cut one piece, and I'll take it back over and show you how you set the next one up. Alright, so this piece here, probably a scrap, but we won't throw it away quite yet. If I take this and move that there, that is the beginning. Then I'll come back, put a piece of Padauk right here, and I can actually see this shape here. I could just mirror it, just like watching it and cutting it. I'll put that up here, and I'll get it as close as I can, because again, I'll be making a little bit of scrap out of this one. Same thing. I'm going to hot glue the ends like that, and we'll go over and cut this. Okay, I just fastened another piece on. This is a finished joint right here. I just set this on that piece until I like the looks that it leaves right here. And again, I'm not necessarily going to follow that. I just have to cut this side of that line in order to get a piece that will go together. So I'm going to make it somewhat like that because I like the looks of it. Okay, I've cleaned all the pieces up, and now we'll go ahead and glue everything together. Alright, as you see, I cut this round and I flattened one side. I'm going to go ahead and cut this starting at about 500 RPM. We'll see how it cuts and maybe make some adjustments. Alright, here's my first ring that I've cut, and I ended up with 5 7/8 inch diameter right here. That means I need to create a 5 7/8 inch ring on this one, so that when I put it on there, it continues down this direction with a 5 7/8 inch opening as well. So the common way to make a bowl on a board is, let's say your board was an inch thick. You would lay out 1-inch rings on a 45-degree angle, cut those. It'll line up pretty good, but because I have this wavy pattern, I want to make sure I cut that diameter to match this diameter. So I'll just take a pair of dividers, find that, put a mark on there. I'll get a pencil mark on it, verify it, and then we'll cut it. So let me get that done and I'll be right back. Okay, I put a line on there. I just verified that I'll be leaving a little bit of the pencil line, and that's what I want to do. So we'll go ahead and cut this one now. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing the rings together. It's just a matter of lining up the pieces of wood from where they were cut, and it's really only one way they'll go. Okay, here's the whole assembly. I've got this disc against it, and I'm applying pressure from the tailstock. And before I put it in here, it sat for about 15 minutes with that weight on it while I went and started some lunch. And I came back, put it in here, and the glue is oozing out very nicely, and it's in the right place. So I'm going to let that sit for couple 3 hours before I do anything with it. Okay, I've got it mounted in the chuck. It sat clamped up for about 20 hours. I need to face this off, and then I'll turn the inside and we'll get set up and turn the outside. So there's not a lot of turning on here, but it's still a fun process. So I'm going to use a 1/2 inch bowl gouge to do this. I'm going to run at about 800 RPM. I think I'll just go ahead and use the negative rake scraper here and get that inside finished. I think I'll go ahead and do the outside, and I'll sand everything at the same time. Okay, a little bit of turning on the outside here, and I like to use a disc here, hold it against it, just because segmented bowls made from kiln dried lumber really can get a lot of vibration in them, and it just cuts better if you can do this. And sometimes I use a steady rest when I do the inside, but I didn't do it here. I just turned it first and it wasn't bad at all. Okay, I think this is ready to sand. All right, time to sand the inside, and I'll start with 2-inch disc, 120, work my way through 400. I have my overhead air filtration unit going now. I'm going to turn the dust collector on and we'll get to sanding. Okay, I just wrapped up the sanding here with the 400, and I didn't think you needed to watch all of the grits progress to 400. And I've got a little quiz for you. I'm going to go inside and have a cup of coffee, and we'll give you a chance to think about it. It's time to put a finish on here. See if you can guess what finish I'm going to use and why I'm going to use it. And that's all the clues I'm going to give you. You'll have to have paid attention at the beginning of the video, and some of you will figure it out. Okay, I'll be back shortly and we'll get a finish. Okay, I gave you lots of time to figure out what I'm going to use for a finish because I had a cup of coffee, and then I went and ran an errand. So here it goes. See how many people guessed this. Yes, indeed, we're using lacquer. So I'm not going to tell you why I'm using it. You tell me in the comments why you think I'm using lacquer on this one specifically. So that's the process. I'm just going to spray it on. I'll be spraying it on the back. I don't know that we need to watch that. And once I'm done with that, I'll probably polish it up and I'll bring you back and show you that. Alright, I've probably got 7 or 8 coats of lacquer sprayed on here, and I think it looks great, but I can feel a little overspray here and there. I'm going to go over it with the white Scotch-Brite. And now to polish it all out, I'll use the Acks abrasive paste. Okay, I'm going to slow that down to about maybe 500 or so. I'll finish it off with the polishing and restoring paste just to give it that little extra. And you don't need very much of this from what I found. And I'm just starting out at the higher speed on that. I can definitely see an increase in the shine. Oh yeah, I like that a lot. Really brings the color out of that wood. So that's it. And my tenon is actually hot glued onto this piece. So I'll just have to do a little bit of work to get that off and we are all done. Well, here it is. And I really like it. I call it a chaos bowl just because of the way I cut it. I didn't put a lot of thought into making those cuts. And that was the idea. I wanted it to look very random, and it does. And the bottom looks pretty nice as well. So I finished 9 inches in diameter. It's 3 1/4 inches tall, and the walls are about 5/16. I made this from 3 types of wood: Peruvian walnut, maple, and Padauk. And they seem to go together very nicely. Finished it with 7 coats of sprayed on lacquer, and then I used Acks abrasive paste and polish to give it that really nice finish. So the key to this is not only just the way I cut them on the bandsaw to get these twisty shapes, but was how I made the separate rings. I used this little fixture that I came up with on a couple bowls ago where I did similar ideas, and it just I use a little skew in there and I cut the rings with it. So I've been asked before if I would show how I make this. Well, guess what? I've already made the video and it's coming soon, so keep a look for it and you'll see how I made this from start to finish. I really enjoyed making this one. It was a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, do me a favor and click that like button. And while you're there, it would be great if you could share the video around. Those 2 things will really help my channel grow. Leave a comment. I read them all and I do my best to answer them all. Thanks to all my subscribers. And if you're not, please consider doing so. I do a mix of all types of turnings. Some are simple and some are complex. So let me know your favorite. Thanks again, and until the next time, see you later.